So let's see. We have electrocution, welding, and tools. This is, well, we already had the presentation, which was very good. So I'm not going to replicate what we've seen. What we want to do here is identify the hazards related to electrocution and the uses of tools. So to prevent accidents and to prevent people from getting hurt. The issue is that, as I said before, everybody uses tools. And that's something that we will need in every construction site. Almost everyone has to work around electricity. And I'm sure that some of you at one point must have got a small shock, you know, plugging in something or taking something out of service. It is dangerous to work with electricity. You need to be trained well in how to work around it. The regulations from OSHA are 1910-302 and 308, and then 331 to 335. Those are the general industry. And then for construction, we have subpart K of the 1926 codes. OSHA has this acronym to remind people about the hazards related to electrocution. It's B, safe. B stands for burns, E for electrocution, S is shock, A, arc flash, F, fire, and E, explosion. We saw in a case where we had an explosion in a drum. So we'll look a little bit into the other five. Burn, it's the most common electrical related injury. You get in touch, your body gets in touch with 2 points of different voltage, and then current goes through your body and makes a burn on the skin or on the muscle or on the tissue. It's basically you get in touch, in contact with electricity, but it's not fatal. It does not kill you. Then electrocution, as was said before, that results in a death of a person. So that means killed with electricity. The difference, you know, what makes a burn and what makes an electrocution or a shock. A shock is only when your body gets as part of the circuit, and then you get this electrical current going through your body or through part of your system very quickly, and you disconnect. So that leaves you with an uncomfortable feeling and dizziness or whatever. The difference is depending on what is the voltage, depending on what is the path that the current takes through your body, the time of exposure, all those things will make a difference in the amount, you know, the how badly hurt you get when exposed to electricity. This arc flash, this is a tremendous amount of energy released between 2 points. That gives a very bright line with light, with temperatures that go really, really high. I mean, it says here you can record it as high as 35,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's very, very dangerous to work with. Then we have fires and explosions that can occur as a result of electrical products. Yes?
Is it okay to assume that an arc blast is not the same thing as an electrocution, as you mentioned?
Well,
because the electrocution is when you die. So can you have this?
You can have you can die from an arc, or you can die from becoming part of the circuit. It's 2 different types of deaths. Okay. Being part of the circuit means that you get your body in touch with a high voltage point, and the current goes through you to ground, okay? And then you die as a result of the electricity going through critical parts of your body, the heart, the brain, and so on. The arc blast is when you have a tremendous amount of energy that goes between 2 points. It normally happens on the air, and you are nearby. Okay, so then you are exposed to this really high heat.
But you're not in it.
But you're not inside the circuit. Here's an electric arc video that may help to clarify a little bit what an arc is. This was taken. See? It's a really, really high voltage power line. It's transmitting electricity from town to town. And one of the safety bars failed. So then, it created this arc. Imagine if you're around that and the arc hits you, it will kill you.
Actually, I was talking to an electrical engineer. He told me that cost them a lot of money.
Yeah.
I bet they didn't download it properly. That's why it happened.
Oh, okay. They didn't. No,
they didn't follow procedures, and they just shut it off.
Here it seems to be another one. This looks cool. So let me run it real quick. No, maybe not. I don't know.
The Power Explorer PX5.
There was an ad. Okay. 138,000 volts. There you go.
See how they're lifting it?
Yeah.
That was cool.
See, that's an arc.
Is that a safety? Is that why it went up for safety reasons?
They were trying to make the disconnect, and they didn't download it. They failed to properly. It's not supposed to do those arcs.
Usually de-energize.
And then lift,
and then
they just hit the switch. And probably took a bunch of transformers out, and God knows how long.
Yeah.
So it was a cool, expensive show.
Yeah, right. That's cost him a little bit of fun.
Probably somebody got fired that day.
Who filmed this video? Come over here. We need to talk.
I don't know who did it. One of the power guys in my office showed it to me one day, and we were talking about it because he went through the office and he said, "Oh yeah, it's cool, but."
Because
and what happened was that they didn't start shutting down before they lifted the blades.
Okay. Good. All right. So here, do you recognize any hazards?
A ladder right next over the cable.
Yeah, exactly right. You have a ladder right over the cables. The ladder is not 3 feet above the landing. So
but it's tight.
Yeah. Well, it's tight. I give him that, right?
Or supposed to be tight.
Yeah. We don't know. Maybe it's a cable.
Yeah.
So it's too close to power lines. Any hazards in here?
Yeah.
We have
even though the box is there, it's too high on one side, and you see that big load there.
His spoil is too close.
It's too close.
Exactly.
And you see already caving in.
It's too close. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, but I'm talking about the spoil on
His
this
spoil
end.
needs to be banked back a little bit more.
You see on the right, on your right,
Uh-huh.
see, where they look how it's all caving in already, and the load on top, the ground. No, on top.
This.
Yeah.
Very
and
close.
the ground is already wet, so saturated.
Yeah. And there seems to be 2 cables going over there, and they managed to put that box in clean. So, that's dangerous. Plus,
that excavator being too close.
Yeah, it's extremely close.
I've seen much worse.
Yeah.
My own guys do much worse.
When you're not there.
Yeah.
And then you have no barricade around these, so it's a potential for somebody to come in and fall inside the wall. Any hazards here?
Oh, the splice.
Yeah. It doesn't seem to be properly spliced, this thing. And plus it's a mess, right? People can trip over there and fall down.
Oh, beautiful.
How about here? Huh? Isn't that nice? So here you have cables exposed. People can come in, touch that, and get a at least a shock or a burn because coming in contact with the circuit. And then you have cables going in and out of the boxes that are not properly protected. So the insulation of the cable can be worn off, and then the whole box becomes electrically powered.
GFI system.
Yeah, so you should use some sort of a ground protection system. We'll talk about that in a second. Any hazards here?
The court?
So,
Yeah, they connected everything except for the ground.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be a really good connection over there, right? And this seems that it's not completely covered, so you have the potential of getting, shocked.
you're not allowed to have a splice on a tool. That tool would have to be retired or taken in and have a whole new power plant.
Power cable.
Typically what they do is wherever they have it cut, because in construction you can't repair electrical lines with electrical tape except for welding leads up to a certain percentage. So what a lot of the guys will do is if they have a 25-foot extension cord, they have some abrasions or some nicks in the insulation of the line here, they'll just cut off and lose like 10 feet of the cord and put another male end on that end.
Okay.
When it stinks is when you have a 75-foot extension cord and you got a nick right in the middle. In that case, I tell the guys just make 2 extension cords. Get a male and a female, and now you got two 35 footers. You know.
There you go. Excellent. Any hazard in here?
Less than 10 feet away from the power.
Yeah, it looks really close to that electrical line, right? You need to be
I
at
think
this
the light pole, the actual light
the
is
light pole
over.
here. Yeah, that's closer. Yeah, absolutely. Very good. But at least they have a camera so they can see. Any hazard in here?
A little bit.
Yeah, the ground.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Huh?
Yeah.
You're using the wrong extension, and then
Yeah, I guess we all have done it.
some people actually go and cut that
The ground.
ground. Yeah. Here again, the same thing. The ground cut off so they can fit it in there. How about here?
Yeah, it's not protected.
Yeah. So the cables can move in. They can get a break.
Yeah, there's a piece of flex on it.
How about here?
Wow.
Well, they protected it with some insulation.
Yeah, there you go. It's protected. So they did something, right? It's not too bad. Yeah. You have cables going from one room to another one, and at least they put something over there to protect it, preventing the cable to get broken. Okay, so the potential hazards we have contact with power lines. We saw the video of the crane. Energized sources such as cables that are improperly protected, or panel that has access. Faulty extension cords, improper grounding, wrong use of the personal protective equipment or tools. And the other problem may be water. Water is a good conductant of electricity, so that makes things a lot more risky when working around electricity. That's
Bangkok, Thailand. A man under the influence of a dangerous new street drug has climbed a power pole. Before rescuers could reach him, tragedy struck. The rescuers had been informed that power had been cut off to the lines. Tragically for this worker, the information was incorrect. When he touched the wire, 50,000 volts of electricity jolted his body. Fortunately, his safety strap prevented him from falling to his death. His co-workers got him safely to the ground, where he was treated for surprisingly minor injuries. The suicidal man was also safely rescued.
That's incredible, huh?
That's lucky.
Yeah. So you get you get an electrical shock over there in the safety harness, safety snap. So that's interesting. But that brings also another point. Sometimes you need to call the utility companies make sure that they disconnect the power lines, and then they should have some sort of a visual marking or a ground that shows that that line has been completely disconnected. Here is a table that shows body reaction to electricity. So we have current. Depending on the current, what will be the reaction? Below 1 milliamp, there's generally not perceptible. 1 milliamp, 5 milliamps, small tingle or shock. I don't know if you guys did that, but when I was a kid, we used to take these 9-volt batteries, and to test them, you would put them in your tongue, so you feel this tingling, and then the battery is good to go. I always hated that thing, but that's an example of a faint tingle when you get in touch with the two differential volts. And then when you go down, 1,000, 10,000, you can have cardiac arrest, death, anywhere from a faint tingle to extreme pain, respiratory arrest, and so on. So as I briefly mentioned before, the severity of the injury depends on several factors. One is the amount of current flowing through. You have the voltage and the amperage. The current path through the body, where does that go? The length of time that the body remains in the circuit, and then the frequency of the current. Now, when we have water, that makes things worse because it does convey electricity. That's true also when we were hearing the first video, the guy with the crane, the recommendation was use a tagline that is dry and clean. Because if the tagline that normally is not conductive of electricity is wet, then you have a conductor of electricity, and you can get shocked by the electrical current. So when your body becomes part of the electrical circuit, you get a shock. You get affected by this path of electricity flowing through your body. So we have hazards when cords and connectors are not properly connected, when they're not properly maintained, when there are abrasions or cuts in the insulation of the cables. So you should always follow good practices in terms of taking out of service those items. So to protect from electrocution, there are several things you can do. Maintain a safe distance from the power line. What's the minimum distance? 10 feet. 10 feet, very good. Use ground circuit interrupters, GFs, CI. These will shut off the electrical path if they measure a peak in the current. So that typically is a short circuit or something going wrong in the circuit. So it will turn off the electricity. Inspect portable tools and extension cords. Use the power tools as designed. Some people get a little bit creative with that. Lockout, tagout procedures. These are very important when people are performing maintenance on electrical parts. So you shut down the electricity on the main panel. You put a note that says, this has been shut down because of maintenance. Contact such and such if you have any questions. You don't want a person being working on an equipment and then somebody turning that switch on and causing severe problems.